Nicole Scott here for Netbook News, and here we have the Acer Aspire 1722. This is an 11.6-inch unit with a 1366 by 768 display running the AMD C50 CPU. Now, the AMD C50 CPU will enable you to do 1080p playback and a little bit of light gaming, which is very nice. So this is actually a video that we took in Hong Kong, running at 60 frames a second, 1080p video locally. So you can, because this is a sped up time lapse, you can actually see it's glitchless, completely flawless. You would definitely notice it with a time lapse of this speed. So if you're looking for something that will allow you to play 1080p, this is definitely a great option. And just to tell you right now, this is $291 on Amazon. So this is a steal of a deal at an 11.6 inch. So if you're looking for something that is kind of productivity driven, the 11.6 inch form factor is bigger than the 10.1. So if we say put these two side by side, you can see here, let's just wake this back up. So you can see here that this has a larger screen size, thinner bezel. This is a full-size keyboard, and I'm actually very happy with this keyboard. It has a little bit of flex, but no problem in my typing experience whatsoever. The 10-inch, I'm actually just as productive, but the problem is that because the key sizes are just a little bit smaller, you are slightly less productive. So you can kind of see it there. This is 97%, I believe, and this is full size. So the difference isn't that big, but it's enough if you're looking for something that you want it to be 100% productivity driven. Now, if we take a look around the unit, this is very thin. So this is one of the advantages to going with this unit, is its extremely thin profile. Down this side, we have the PSU, Ethernet, VGA, fan, USB 2.0, and HDMI. So this is a nice feature if you say want to hook it up to your TV, use it as a streaming media unit. I mean, it definitely has that option. And also because of the thinner profile, you'll notice here that the bottom of this VGA port is actually kind of exposed. If we take a look over here at this unit, you can see that the port is actually kind of covered along the bottom. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because when I was downloading the updates on this unit, I touched this and I found it extremely hot. So if you're kind of using this on your lap, which you might be, well, everyone does, this could be an issue. So if using this on your lap in shorts is a big problem, is a big thing that you like to do, you might have an issue with that. So continuing around the front, we've got nothing here except you can see the mouse pointer. Here we have a 5-in-1 card reader, a headphone, microphone, 2 USB 2.0, and Kensington lock. Now the battery is quasi-integrated. You have to put a little key in there to actually open it up, so you can't actually unlock it. So that's actually a pretty nifty little feature that they've got there. This entire panel comes off if you want to say upgrade the RAM. Online, I noticed most of them come with 1 to 2 gigs, generally 2 gigs of DDR3. But because of the AMD C50 CPU, you can actually upgrade this to 4 gigs of RAM. I strongly suggest you do that because the difference that it makes in opening and closing programs and running multimedia is noticeable if you double the RAM. So if we wake this computer back up, why don't we take a listen to some Bassnectar? So I'm not overly impressed with these speakers. I think they could be much louder. So if we just fast forward that a touch. Right. So down. As loud as they go. So the bass isn't great. You kind of lose the lows. The highs aren't that great. And I wouldn't call it tinny, but I'd say it's getting there. Now, if we say chose to play a little bit of jazz to hear how it handles instrumental. That's not too bad. But I'd want it to be a little louder and a little richer. But if you're just going to watch some movies, could be tolerable. Now let's take a look at Skype. The camera. So let's just pull this in a little bit closer so you can just see. The camera's very, I'd say it's pretty good. But if you check out kind of this area here, here, it's not that dark in the back corner of my kitchen. So as soon as you kind of get into the shadows, you start things are a little bit lighter than they should be. All right, so if we take a little quick comparison here with, say, the 10-inch Acer Aspire 722 and the Happy. Now the Happy is running on the Intel Atom N550 CPU. You can see the screen on the Happy is actually a little bit brighter. If we also pull up, let's go to the Netbook News homepage. Here we go. So you can kind of see that you do get a lot more real estate with this small amount. I've actually set my web browser to cut off the sides so that I make maximum use of my very small screen size. Now, if you are going to be choosing between these two, the Acer Happy right now is we're going for around $260, and the Acer Aspire 722 is for $291. The price difference, I would suggest that you go with the Acer Aspire 1 because it's got a slightly more powerful CPU. The battery life is roughly the same. If you check out the profile on the units, the Happy is thicker, definitely thicker. Even if you put it this way, the bottoms, oh, they kind of level out. The Happy is slightly higher, actually. It is slightly higher. But all in all, they've kind of rounded out the corners a little bit on the Aspire 1. They've made it a little more aesthetically pleasing. One of the biggest things in my books is that they have the thinner bezel around the screen because it makes the unit feel a little more put together, a little more tight. But this unit we're seeing around 7.5, 8 hours. With this unit we're seeing around 7 hours. So the battery life is roughly comparable. If you check out the bottom, the Happy is actually heavier. It has a larger battery. So the fact that it's getting the same type of battery life is kind of interesting. One of the things that I'm not sure if I pointed out, one of the big drawbacks to the 722 is its glossy lid. Now you can see it's a giant fingerprint magnet. It does have this, I actually really like this ripple effect on the top. I think when it's nice and clean, it does look quite classy. I think it's a nice little effect. But the 722 really is, I think, a great value for what you're getting. If you're not going to be using your netbook for anything extremely processor intensive, so if you want to play on Facebook, if you want to do email, if you want to watch some movies locally, 1080p seems to play fine. Online, I've only managed to get 720p to run perfectly. I find 1080p is a little bit of a struggle, but still, that's a pretty good option. I mean, how many of you actually watch HD on your netbook? I mean, I'm generally watching standard definition downloads, completely legal downloads, but nevertheless, I mean, I think those file sizes are fine for me. But that depends on you. If you're a complete freak that needs 1080p on everything, then I suggest that you go with something with the dual-core the E530, the E350, or something in the Core i3 range. But if you're just looking for something portable that you're going to take to class, take notes on, something thin, something light, something 1.2 pounds, that's incredibly light, I really suggest that you take a look at the Acer 722. I mean, even the touchpad is a very decent size. I dislike the single mouse button, because here in the middle, this is kind of a dead space. You can't press on there. So if it was a if it was a double button, then you'd have the full range of motion, so there's actually no wasted space. We have the scroll bar along the side, so let's check that out. I think that's a great feature. The trackpad is multi-touch. The scroll bar is something that I wish that I had on my Lenovo 220X, which is a $1,500 computer. I mean, they could have included that. So there are some pretty nice little features that they've added in to this extremely budget 11.6 inch. So again, I'd really strongly consider it. Amazon for $291. A little bit of a heat issue. I think the keyboard's great. I think the trackpad's no problem. I love the thin bezel. Display could be brighter, speakers could be louder, but all in all, a solid choice. Nicole Scott for Netbook News, reviewing the Acer Aspire 1 722.